Hello AP Statistics students. Sorry I'm not here today like I said. I have a doctor's appointment. So while I'm gone, what you're going to take a look at in this video is the calculations for the standard deviation. You're going to do it a couple of times, so hopefully you have the worksheet from the sub. That helps give you a table to sort of organize your work here. It should make things a little bit easier. So make sure you have that. And hopefully this will help cement what the standard deviation actually is and what it means for you. All right, so if you haven't yet though, take 15 minutes to look at that Desmos that we started yesterday. So finish that Desmos up and then start this video over. But let's take a look at how to calculate the standard deviation. All right, so we got this big, ugly formula right here. It looks super complicated, but we are going to break it down piece by piece. So hopefully it makes sense. So the first thing what we do in this formula is we take every data point, all right, x sub I, and we subtract it from the mean. Well, we subtract the mean from it, sorry. What that does is it gives us how far away it is. Subtraction is the distance between two numbers. So how far away is that point from the average? All right, so that's the distance from the center. But some of those distances are positive if it's above the mean, and some of those distances are negative if it's below the mean. And we don't want to have those positive distances and negative distances cancel each other out. So to make sure that doesn't happen, we square everything. This takes everything and turns it positive. All right, once we have all of these distances positive, and yes, they're squared, but they're all positive, we can now find an average. We're going to add them all up and divide by how many. And that's what this crazy looking symbol here looks like. If you've taken calculus already, you probably recognize that little guy. I'm not sure if you do that in Algebra 2 or Trig, but that simply means to add up. Sum. It's the summation equation symbol. It means to add up. And that's what the standard deviation or the average does. Add them all up and divide by how many? N is your sample size. All right, how many there are. Now, in this formula, you will see you do this weird n minus 1 thing. It has to do with the degrees of freedom. We don't really get into this much in this class of why we need that there, but what that does, it makes the standard deviation a little bit bigger, and that makes a lot of our calculations safer later on. Make sure you practice safe statistics. Just saying. All right. Then what we got to do is we got to square root the whole thing. I mean, you're not allowed to just square numbers willy-nilly. I wish we could. If we could, I'd square my bank account right now. But you can't, so I won't. To get rid of that squared, we do the opposite of a square, and we square root everything. And that brings us to what is essentially the average distance from the mean, right there. All right, we walked through all the parts of the formula. Now let's do one. All right, so here's our scenario. I'm not going to do very many numbers here. 11 high school students were asked how many close friends they have. Here are their responses along with the dot plot. All right, so we got all the numbers there. We're going to calculate the sample standard deviation and then interpret that value. All right, we're going to do this in steps and calculate this value. So the first thing we need, I don't even have the average up here. All right, let me grab the average. 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 6 divided by 11. Oh, they're so nice. So the average here is 3. All right. So this X bar, I don't think we've quite said that yet. That stands for average. All right, that is your average, x bar. And this right here is our data point. So we're going to do 1 minus 3, 2 minus 3, 2 minus 3, 2 minus, oopsies, 2 minus 3, 3 minus 3, 3 minus 3, 3 minus 3, 3 minus 3, 4 minus 3, 4 minus 3, and 6 minus 3. All right, so inside those parentheses, we're going to get -2, -1, -1, -1. All of these are going to be 0, and 2 1s, and a 3. So what we're going to do now is we're going to square those numbers. That number goes right here inside the parenthesis. We're going to square all those. So we can just do that in our head, right? -2 squared is 4. -1 squared is 1, 1, 1. 0 squared, these are all 0. 1, 1, and 9. All right, so that is this part right over here. All right, what we got to do now is this part. We're going to add them all up. That's what that symbol means, sum. Add them all up. So we're going to take this, add them up. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 8, 9, and 9 makes 18. All right. So that inside of this square root right here, all of that is 18. So we've got 18. We still have to divide that by n minus 1, and then take the whole square root to it. All right, so how many pieces of data did we have? We had 11, right? There were 11. So this square root becomes the square root of 18 divided by 11 minus 1, which gives us 10. 18 divided by 10 is 1.8. And then we have to square root that. The square root of 1.8 is 1.34. So the standard deviation for this data set is 1.34. And we should now be able to write our sentence, right? What was the context again? If we come up here, 11 high school students were asked how many close friends they have. So the number of close friends these 11 students have is typically 1.34 friends away from the average of 3 friends. All right, don't worry that, yes, I understand you can't have 1.34 friends, but don't worry, it's a theoretical number. I know this is discrete data, but your theoretical numbers like your average and your standard deviation don't have to be possible. All right, so I've got one for you to try on your own. You're going to do that process for this data set right here. All right, so here are the data for the number of goals scored in 20 games played by the 2016 U.S. women's soccer team. All right, you are going to find the standard deviation. So I've got the table set up for you here already. I'll do the first one here to get you going again, but then I want you to finish all the parts here. All right, so again, the first number, that's your data point. So it's going to be a 1. Minus the average. So you got to calculate the average here. Did they give it to us? No. So you got to add all these numbers up and find the average. All right, just looked it up, and that average is 3.15. So you'll subtract that, find that value, and then over on this side, you will take that value and you will square it. And you got a lot of repeats here, so this shouldn't be that bad. You got a lot of repeats that you can just put arrows down and then go through the rest of the formula. Once you get all those numbers, you add them up, divide by n minus 1, and then square root the whole thing. Good luck with that. Hopefully you get the answer in the end, and I will check back with you tomorrow. Good luck.